I started as a bench scientist working in the lab, but switched over to managing the ALS Research Collaborative program in about 2020. And that stemmed out of a personal interest to learn more about the clinical presentation of people living with ALS and to solve some of the gaps in the research that we face in ALS. So I joined ALS TDI in 2013, which is just before the launch of the precision medicine program in 2014. So I wasn't on the team when we launched that, but I did get to see its beginnings. And where the program is now as ARC is pretty different than where it was when it started. It was interesting to see it grow, over the almost 10 years now. There wasn't really a blueprint for a study like this, especially in ALS. With all the varied clinical presentations of ALS, it's hard to know how to design a study like the precision medicine program. And so it was interesting to see how the science team at the time tried to capture as much data as they could, how to build the infrastructure without really too much help or too much guidance in how they were doing that. So in the early days, it was a lot of focus on data collection and data storage, and a little bit less about maybe the research questions, because it was all about, how can we capture more data? What other data types can we capture? How are we storing it? How are we going to be able to access it? All these questions that you might not think about in research. A lot of the early days of the PMP were about that. And then around 2019, 2020, we had amassed a large amount of data at that point and a large amount of participants. And so we hit sort of a point where we could start thinking about how we're going to, more deeply dig into the data, how we're going to share the data, maybe how we can improve the program more for the participants. And so that line of thinking and that journey started on the evolution of the PMP into the ALS Research Collaborative